Starting off on the 4-day Bitcoin price chart, and right now the super trend indicator is still showing that bearish signal, still sitting in the red, so not much has changed over the last 1 day on this chart. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, we are still seeing this bearish signal play out here in the weekly Bitcoin MACD. But like I explained in my last video, we're possibly getting close towards a low point here in the histogram within the MACD indicator. But like I also said in my last video, we still need to wait for this to mature because it's still a little bit too early to tell if this is definitely a low point in the MACD indicator in the histogram. So just keep that in mind. It is possibly getting close towards a low point in terms of the maximum amount of bearish momentum on this bearish movement here. But if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin price chart, of course, we still have a significant bearish divergence to pay attention to, which basically means we should not necessarily expect any significant bullish momentum towards the upside really anytime soon. And I've been saying that for basically the last 1 to 2 months now on the channel, basically every day since much higher prices. I've been saying do not expect any significant bullish momentum anytime soon. And now obviously we can see some short-term bullish price action like bounces from support and things like that in the shorter term, but just don't expect a massive high momentum movement towards the upside like that, for example, at least anytime soon. But with that being said, taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, and right now we're currently retesting and possibly starting to break below this Fibonacci level of support, which is sitting at around 82,500. So really in between around 82 to 83,000. That is the current support to pay attention to, but below around 82,500 and especially below 82,000, in that case, the next important support based on the retracement levels here is sitting at close to 76,000. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, obviously over the last 1 to 2 days, the price of Bitcoin came up towards this area of resistance, and then very close to this resistance, we actually rejected from that area, and that's sitting in between around 86,000 to 88,000. So obviously right now that is still acting as resistance that we need to pay attention to, and above around 88,000, I'll be watching around 96,000 and also at around 91 to 92k. Those are the other levels of resistance that I'll be watching further towards the upside. But obviously in the meantime, we're still struggling around that 85, 86k level, basically just at the beginning of this area of resistance. And as for support, like I just said, I would expect some support at around 82,000 give or take, and also at around 76,000. But below those levels, we have significant support in between around 70,000 to 74,000. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, we still technically have this bullish divergence, which is still currently active because we've not yet confirmed any invalidation signal to invalidate the bullish divergence. And in case you're new to all of this, an invalidation signal would be something like, for example, a break towards the downside here in the RSI on the daily time frame below this ascending line of support, and especially if we create a lower low below this previous low right here in the RSI, that would be a strong invalidation signal to actually invalidate this bullish divergence. But for now, considering the fact that we've not yet confirmed those invalidation signals, at least for now, it's still currently actively playing out, which means we should be expecting either a slight bullish relief or just some choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcomes, the most common outcomes from a bullish divergence. And obviously, so far, this has been pretty much perfectly playing out every day over the last 1 week approximately, as I've been saying over the last 1 week. And as I've also been saying, usually a bullish divergence on the daily time frame plays out over a couple of weeks, give or take, before it starts to lose relevance. So this will likely play out for at least a little longer over the next few days, maybe another week once again. But obviously based on these larger signals on the larger time frames, especially this massive bearish divergence on the weekly time frame, this is telling us that we should not expect any significant bullish momentum, which is why I've been saying maybe just a slight bullish relief, but not a massive high momentum movement towards the upside. And if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 4-hour Bitcoin price chart, just over the last 1 day, we've now officially confirmed a break towards the downside below this ascending line of support, which was sitting at around 82.8k approximately, so getting close to 83,000 by the time we broke that level. And as of recording this video, the current price of Bitcoin is trading below that line of support, and we've actually now seen a couple of candle closes here on the 4-hour time frame confirmed below that line of support. So this technically activates a short-term bearish price target based on this rising wedge pattern, and that price target, in case you're wondering, is sitting at around 78.5 $2,500. And so just for example, if we're measuring from the current price of Bitcoin as of recording this video to that technical price target, that's around a 4 to 5% move towards the downside, which could be a likely scenario here considering it is technically an active price target right now based on this price pattern. But in order to actually invalidate the price target and invalidate this pattern right here, would have to quickly see a breakout sometime soon back above this line on the price chart, this previous line of support, which will likely now act as resistance, and that's currently sitting at just above 83,000. And so obviously if we could break out back above that level, that would be at least some good news here in the short term. But remember, we still have a lot of resistance to the upside that we need to pay attention to, and of course those larger signals on these larger time frames are telling us do not expect any significant bullish momentum anytime soon. But even though we've seen a breakdown here on the 4-hour Bitcoin price chart from this rising wedge pattern, this bearish price pattern, of course, like I just said earlier, on the daily time frame, we still technically have an active bullish divergence. And so this signal is actually telling us, at least in the short term for the coming days, don't expect a lot of bearish momentum. Once again, we commonly see either just some choppy sideways price action or a slight bullish relief from a bullish divergence here in the shorter term. And so when we consider all of this information right here on all of these Bitcoin price charts, a very likely scenario, honestly, over the next couple of days is relatively boring price action. Basically price action with lacking momentum to either direction. But the longer the price basically just trades sideways and doesn't do all that much, that's basically the calm before the storm. Usually that only lasts for a certain period of time, and then eventually, basically the longer we see boring price action, the more explosive the next volatile move will eventually be. And if you want to get set up ready to go to take advantage of the next major trading opportunity in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, whether you're trading this move right here or that next volatile move coming at some point in the future, then obviously you have to get set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And personally, I'm starting to take more of my crypto trades over on 2bit, so I'll make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive trading bonuses, like for example a brand new Mercedes-Benz or $50,000 in trading rewards simply just by trading crypto using that link. But if you're not one of these larger traders here, you can still claim some decent bonuses using the link below this video, like for example a $30 sign up bonus and also a 20% deposit rebate up to a max of 200 USDT. So for example, if you make your 2bit account using that link and then just make a $1,000 deposit, you get a $200 bonus onto your 2bit account. And on top of all of that, if you use the link below this video to 2bit, you're automatically upgraded to VIP level 1 trading fees, which basically means you get a massive discount on trading fees, lowered trading fees over on 2bit. But remember, that's only available if you use that link. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link below this video. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want 2bit as an exchange, there's also BTNex as another exchange that I also trade on, which is also a no KYC exchange. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to BTNex below this video. And by the way, if you use the link below this video to BTNex, you claim an exclusive 10% discount on all trading fees on BTNex forever. But that massive fee discount is only available if you use that link below this video to BTNex. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and right now we do have a decent amount of liquidity still building in between around 71,000 to 74,000, and also a decent amount at close to 100,000. But obviously the liquidity that is below the price of Bitcoin is closer towards the current price compared to $100,000, and also between now and 100k we have a lot of points of resistance that we need to pay attention to that will likely prevent the price from actually going straight towards 100k. And so this means that it's slightly more likely that the price of Bitcoin will move towards that lower 70k area compared to 100k, at least as of right now in the shorter term. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the weekly time frame. Of course, the larger price structure has not changed over the last one day. We're still looking very bearish, basically in a bear market for Ethereum, as I've been saying for quite some time. Basically, the moment we broke below this multi-year line of support, that was the bear market signal right there. And if we're taking a look at the 3-day time frame, we are still bouncing from this Fibonacci level of support here in the shorter term, sitting at around 1870 to 1880. So at least for now, that is some short-term good news for Ethereum. We're still holding that as support. And as for resistance, I would expect significant resistance in between around 2.1k to 2.2k if we can actually make it up there first of all. And as for support below around 1870, give or take, in that case, the next significant level of support, if we see a further breakdown here, would be sitting at around 1.5k. But there's not really too much else to add here for Ethereum. So getting straight into the price of Solana on the weekly time frame, and right now the price of Solana is still running into this significant area of support, sitting in between 120 to 130. But as I've recorded this video, the price is moving closer towards possibly breaking that area. Obviously, for now, we've not yet confirmed any break below 120 with candle closes below that level. But if that happens, if we see candle closes, especially on the weekly time frame below 120, and especially if we flip that area into new resistance by seeing a rejection like that, for example, in that case, the next major price target towards the downside below 120 would be sitting at around $90 based on the full technical price target, the complete price target for this rising wedge pattern. And so that is still the situation right now on the weekly Solana chart. As I've been saying for weeks, this is still playing out as expected. And if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, of course, something else that is still being playing out as expected is this shorter term bullish divergence on the daily chart, with higher lows still in place in the RSI, that is, and lower lows still in place in the price action. And so once again, this means we're likely going to see a little bit more of just a break or a relief from all of the bearish price action here, but not necessarily the end of the bearish trend. It is possible that perhaps after a little bit more of a break from the bearish trend, it is possible we can ultimately resume the bearish trend later on. And as always, if we see a breakdown here in the RSI below this ascending line of support right here, and especially if we actually form a lower low below this previous low in the daily Solana RSI, then those will be invalidation signals. Especially if we break below the previous low, that'll be a strong invalidation signal to invalidate the bullish divergence. But not much else has really happened over the last one day for Solana. So getting straight into the price of XRP on the 3-day time frame, and right now XRP is technically still playing out this massive bearish divergence, as I've been saying for months now on the channel. Since much higher prices, I've been saying do not expect any significant bullish momentum anytime soon for the price of XRP. And yes, we can see some short-term bounces here and there from support levels and things like that, from oversold signals in the shorter term, but just don't expect significant momentum towards the upside. And obviously over the last couple of months, that has been exactly playing out as expected. But if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 8-hour XRP chart, over the last one day, we've just seen another retest of this area of previous resistance right here, which is now acting as a bit of support, sitting in between around $2.25 to $2.30. And we did see a slight dip below $2.25 down towards around $2.23, give or take, $2.23 to $2.24. But for now, the price is still trying to just hold on to that area. But if we ultimately start actually rejecting from this area, flipping it into new resistance again, and especially if we confirm more candle closes towards the downside here, in that case, the next major area of support to watch out for is sitting in between around $1.95 to $2.05. But for now, we are still finding support around that $2.25 to $2.30 area. So if we see another bounce here, expect more resistance at just under $2.50 and significant resistance in between $2.65 to $2.80. And as I've also been saying over and over again here on the channel, don't really expect a lot of momentum here in the shorter term to either direction. The price is basically within a sideways price range, as we can see for the last 1 month, the last few weeks, the last month, give or take. We've just been bouncing around sideways between support and resistance within a bit of a sideways price range. So at least for now, we're kind of lacking momentum to either direction. But it's during these periods in the market where a lot of people just get bored and leave crypto because nothing's really happening. But these are the times where it's actually most valuable to stay paying attention to the crypto markets, because usually when a bunch of people are thinking about leaving the crypto market, whether it's because of bearish price action or just because because of boring price action, usually that's when we start to see more massive opportunities actually appear. But with that being said, taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, and right now Chainlink is still bouncing from this 78.6% Fibonacci level of support, sitting at around 1270 to 1280. So for now, obviously that's still acting as support, and we also are still playing out this bullish divergence on the daily time frame, with lower lows already confirmed in the price in the candle closes, and higher lows still confirmed and still actually forming, playing out here in the daily Chainlink RSI. And so once again, this is telling us that we'll likely see a bit of a break or a relief from this bearish trend, but not necessarily the end of the bearish trend. So it's possible we could see a little bit more of a relief here, maybe for another few days, maybe another week, that sort of time frame, but just don't necessarily expect a massive bullish trend reversal based on this signal alone. And so for now, technically speaking, despite this short-term bullish relief, the current larger trend is still currently bearish. We are still forming lower highs and lower lows, breaking below key points of support along the way towards the downside and rejecting from key resistance, which is all bearish price structure. And as for support and resistance, obviously I just mentioned around 1270 to 1280 as support, but if we actually break below that level, invalidating the bullish divergence, in that case the next critical level of support towards the downside would be sitting at around $10. And as for resistance, I would start to expect a lot of resistance at close towards around $15, give or take, especially in between around $14.50 to $15.50. That massive price range right there, expect a lot of resistance, and also significant resistance at around $17.50. And remember, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto for yourself, no matter what the price is doing, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.